Hello, my name is Gail Scott and welcome to my channel. And this is a channel where I bring messages of love and hope and inspiration. I am a galactic channeler and I bring in messages from different groups around the universe to help humanity to basically have a better time while we're here on planet Earth. Now, for those of you who are familiar with my videos, you'll know that I talk a lot about living in our 3D environment, in our third dimensional reality, and how right now we're going through a transition and we're moving into something called ascension, which is fifth dimensional reality, which is the essence of love. And that's often very difficult for people to really kind of get their heads around. What does that mean? Because there's an interim period that we're in right now called the fourth dimension. Now, the fourth dimension isn't really a dimension as such. It's more of a vibrational reality where we have an experience of something that shows very much the duality between fear and love, between clarity and confusion. And when you're able to be in love and you're able to be clear and you're able to know who you really are, then you really have a sense of alignment. And that's a very common spiritual term these days, alignment. And what it really means is that you've come back to yourself, that you are that all's right with the world, that you're being who you really are. And who you really are is love. Who you really are is an expression of God, of the divine, of source energy, whatever you want to call that particular loving space that you would find yourself in. So the channeling that came through was from a group of angelic beings who call themselves the worshipers. And so this message is really about that experience of getting into the fifth dimensional love energy and being able to just be who you really are, which is this divine essence of love. So these angelic beings have come forward and they've said to me that there's a limit. There has been certainly a limit to the extent that we can experience this love oneness in this physical form. When I say that we're in 3D, that means in third dimensional reality, we are made up of matter. We are solid. We're not ethereal beings. We're not spiritually non-physical. All of the energies that I channel are all non-physical. So they're not real people as such, but they are energies of consciousness that communicate through me. But here we are in the world, on planet Earth, in 3D, in this heavy vibrational energy that makes us these physical bodies. And so what they're saying is it's been very difficult for us to have this sense of oneness with the divine, with God, with love, because of being human on the planet Earth, but also because in order to experience that, we need to actually let go. We need to let go of everything that we believe to be possible or impossible for that matter. And we need to really open up and invite the idea that we could completely let go and we could become one with the universe if we wanted to. Now, most of the time, we haven't actually been aware that we could do that. Just because of the nature of the world that we've lived in. And this has been the evolution of humanity, that we've been 3D, we've been in human form, we've been in this duality experience of, fear and love, good and bad, black and white, dark and light. This has been our experience. And they're saying that it's also been restricted. Our ability to really step into the light and be one with the divine because of the practice of religion. And although they're saying, well, it might seem odd for us to say that religion would kind of stop you from being at one with God, it actually has been. Religion has actually done the opposite of that. And what they're saying is that the practice of religion, which is the idea of worshiping another, actually involves us separating ourselves from ourselves as human beings, because we tend to focus our adoration on something outside of ourselves, something external, something separate, when actually the love of God is actually right within us. And so what they're saying is, moving forward now, as we move through this process of change and into the fourth and the fifth dimensions, we're going to return to the sense that we really are the one. And they call it coming home, which seems pretty good way to describe it for me. So coming home means that you're going to start to experience a life where you feel more centered in your heart. And most of my teachings are all about coming back to the heart. So this makes a lot of sense to me, coming home to the heart and being in the heart. So the heart energy is in the center of our body. It's actually in the center of our chest, the heart chakra, not your physical heart, although your physical heart is the strongest, most powerful electromagnetic power source within your body. But coming back to heart energy. And what they're saying is that religion has, in a sense, taken us out of this experience, taken us away from that, so that we could have this physical duality experience that we've had for all of these, centuries and thousands of years that we've been human on the planet. And they're not saying it's good or bad that, it's been that way. It's kind of been just an experience for us to give ourselves this idea of separation. And not just in one way, but in many, many, many ways, we've been able to separate from the love of God, from the divine, and just have a physical human duality experience. So what they're saying is that in this physical duality experience, we've actually had a smorgasbord of possibilities of how to exist, being able to make decisions and have experiences that give us the opportunity to focus on something else, to see what that experience would be like. In a sense, separating ourselves from love, separating ourselves from ourselves, just to kind of see what the experience would bring us. And that experience has actually allowed us to expand, to have new experiences, and to really see what that would be like. But they are saying that even in the separation of all of that, where we have adored something outside of ourselves, something external, that we've allowed to kind of be in our experience, all of these deities and gods and things that we've worshipped have all been versions of love, examples of love. And that, so religion's not, been a bad thing for us. And that the teachings that have come have actually taught us duality. They've taught us good and bad. They've taught us how to allow ourselves to experience all kinds of things in human form. But that's all changing now, they're saying, because when we're moving into the fifth dimension, we need to acknowledge that we are the source of love, we ourselves. And yes, there is the big expansive universe, and there is source energy that we draw from, but that we are made of that. We come from that, and that we exist as an expression of love, that we're a form of love, just in human form, in solid matter. And that doesn't take away from the fact that you are the essence of love just because you're in solid form, you're in a human body. We are a part of source energy. That energy lives within us. It's in every single cell of our 37 trillion cells within our bodies, but that it's really a part of us. And so they're saying that this duality experience of religion, which has actually caused great pain for us in humanity, and the experience of that is going to be ceasing. And that's just given us a learning experience. And it's only really been a few of us who have actually been able and willing to completely surrender this duality experience as a human being, that have been able to have this connection to source energy, to the divine, and to the experience of being love in the human form. But that this is where we're heading as we're transitioning through to 5D. There's going to be a returning to love and a returning to that essence, of returning to that knowing, to that remembering, they're saying, of who we really are, that we are part of the one and that we are love. So this is an interesting time for us as humans, they're saying, because we have been attached to understanding things and allowing ourselves to be led and guided just for the sake of having this duality experience, which has been perfectly fine, but that moving forward, we're going to be more in needing to surrender and release this need for outside attachment, whether it be in the form of another deity or a religion or even a relationship or an addiction or anything like that, because they're saying that many things are actually going to now be revealed to us in order for us to release this need for external validation. And this is almost a very new concept in many ways in the experience of life, to be able to let go of that need for external validation, let's say, and really connect and be able to have that connection within ourselves and allow us to return to source, to return to the divine, to return to love. And that experience can actually happen in a moment. And it's not normally our experience, because as humans, we hold on to things. We tend to do that, and we do that so that we can feel secure. But that's not required in the 5D experience, because the energy of love is going to be this kind of all-consuming experience. And they're saying, you might think that an all-consuming experience would not be a good thing, but in fact, it's going to be a very, very fulfilling experience for us, and also a releasing experience all at the same time, which means that in the releasing of the need to focus on any other source or power or deity or anything like that to be satisfied in life, you're going to come back to the fullness of who you really are. You're going to come home to yourself. And so you won't need that other thing to hold on to feel secure, because you will have that self-awareness, self-love, self-trust, self-connection with this energetic upgrade of 5D that we're getting, because our hearts are going to be more open, and we're going to realize that we really are love. And when we see that, when we can experience that in ourselves, that realization is actually going to allow us to see everyone else as love. And this is what they're calling heaven on earth, which sounds too good to be true, but having been someone that has had this 5D experience of being love and being heart-centered and not being attached and not being judgmental and not being in duality, I can tell you it's quite a very freeing and releasing and fulfilling experience. And I'm really excited about that, because it's going to change our world dramatically. And so they're saying that some people on earth have experienced this already. So you can look forward to this. You can look forward to this experience of feeling energetically fulfilled, feeling expanded in love, and returning to God, returning to the source connection, which doesn't really require you to adore any other deity or any other power, but have this really deep sense of oneness, this sense of connection with yourself and with another, and for yourself and for another, and really accepting that everyone has this within themselves at all times, and that this is what's going to create the unification of our species, along with a very, very deep connection with Mother Earth. And that's going to reveal what is this beauty of this oneness, of this togetherness, of this one consciousness, and that, you know, it's a work in progress on our planet, but it's happening. It is happening right now as we're transitioning through this. And they told me it's happening right now, and it will continue to happen. And in fact, it has already happened. So if you can really get your head around the fact that we're just moving into a new timeline that's already existing. We just have to move with it, surrender, let go, and begin to open our hearts to be in this place, to be able to receive this and then be able to share it with one another. So they're saying this is a group of angelic beings. They're calling themselves the worshipers so that we can understand who they are, that they're bringing us back in a sense of worship, a return to ourselves, to worshiping ourselves, and to being connected to source. And that in that worshiping of ourselves, it's not in a selfish way as we might imagine it, but it's kind of more of an expanding, enlightening, invigorating, all-encompassing love energy that's really within your own physical form and your own energetic sphere, so to speak. And that when that is released out into your space, you'll feel an expansion like you have never felt before. So hold on to your seatbelts, as I often like to say to people, because the roller coaster is going to take a new turn. And it is super, super exciting and very inspiring and hopeful for us all here on planet Earth. And so we have so much support in the galaxy from the galactic realm. And they're coming through, and they're really here for us to assist us as a species and as a planet to move into this fifth dimensional consciousness of love, a returning to ourselves and a coming home. So what a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful experience that is going to be for us all. And yes, I acknowledge it's pretty hard when you're going through it. And if that's the case, you know, just hold on fast to your heart, to love, to the idea that we're all in it, and stay grounded. Go out in earth and take the energy and receive it from Mother Earth, as she can support us as we go through this. And take time to be with yourself, to come home to yourself, and allow yourself to let go of any of the distractions that are out there that are taking your energy and that are not having you feel this place of love, and make time to have more experiences that do bring you to this place of love, this place of home, this place of security and expansion within yourself. So thank you for listening today and watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I am sending you lots and lots of love. Thank you so much.